Ah, crap. I really want to make a video reviewing Season 4 of Dragon's Rising, but only half the season is out right now. So what should I do in the meantime? Huh, Dragon Striker. This animation looks pretty cool. I'll check it out and see what it's— Oh my god! It's so freaking cool! Dragon Striker is a new Disney show that stuck out to me. Whether it's the animation, the interesting yet unexplored world it has, the characters, or its story, I just felt compelled and the urge to talk about this show because this feels like something special.
But didn't you say you didn't want to talk about Dragon's Rising Season 4 because it only—
Shut up, you. I need to talk about something else besides Ninjago for once. And I really want to talk about this show. The characters in this show are pretty good and enjoyable. When Key finds out that he has a Tama that was passed down from his mother, Sugoi comes over to his house to tell him and his father that he's going to Kalash Rock to learn how to control his Tama. I like that Key is being pressured by Goyen Sugoi to be like his mother since he has his mother's Tama. It really shows another side to her when she's angry, since we don't really see that from her often in this show. And I find it very interesting that when she was training Key to better use his Tama, she was getting frustrated at the sight of him not being as good as Adina. My personal interpretation of this scene was that she seemed to be really good friends with Adina and hasn't gotten over with the way she died. So Sugoi is disappointed that Key isn't like his mother, projecting her feelings onto Key. In fact, we see something similar to this with another character. But anyways, Key wants to be as good as his mom at Gorotama, but he can't do that because he can't properly control his Tama, or more so, can't tame the dragon inside of him. But Key finds out that he doesn't need to dominate the dragon like she did to control his Tama, but instead he tries to ally with it. But it does confuse me when he goes straight back to wanting to be like his mom in episode 11 when he just got the conflict resolved when he said that he doesn't need to be like his mom. It undercuts the development he had back in episode 9. Ciel, the captain of the Knights. I like how much of a leader she's grown into over the course of the series, and her personality is very fun and motivational. But she knows when to be more stern with her group members. And by group members, I mean mainly with Key. Oddward does have a pretty cool arc throughout the series, in an interesting conflict with one of the twins on the Bard's team, Casper. They had a falling out in episode 3 with Oddward leaving the Bard's team, seemingly due to Casper making fun of his brother Milo. But I think it was because Casper made Oddward feel like they were not equals when he said that he is the only one who matters, devaluing Oddward in Casper's eyes. I really hope my interpretation of this scene is right, or else I'm looking like a big idiot. Ameline and Milo are pretty good, but they don't really have as much development as the other 3 main cast members. I do like how Milo's fear of ghosts isn't treated as a gag or anything, and when Key takes him to a place filled with hundreds of ghosts, Milo gets very upset at Key, so much so that he leaves the team, and then gets right back with the team in the next episode. Kinda felt pointless with him leaving the Knights, but whatever. Ameline is alright, she has a cool Tama and definitely has potential for a cool story. Maybe she comes from a village of researchers. That could explain why she has so many books and this suspicious crap in her journal. Now to mention some minor characters I liked. Pagrina. She's alright, good enough to be an antagonist for 1 or 2 episodes, and pretty much a fraud. And it seems like she's going to be joining the Knights too, later in the season. Also, wouldn't her diadem be considered cheating? This feels like the equivalent of taking steroids in a track race. The twins. These little shits. I hate these two, and I love how hateable they are. Surya Sunspear. Like Sugoi, he's pretty much projecting all of the feelings he had for Adina onto Key. He's still sore about his face being burnt off and being built like Two-Face. And since Key's mother is dead, all that hatred that he feels for Adina goes straight to Key. Sins of the mother type shit. And he hates the idea of her son beating his team, or more specifically, Anagatatsu beating his team again. So much so that he tells Casper and his sister to end him, and then proceeds to get mad at Key after he hurt Casper when striking a goal. Mind you, this was Key's response to a goddamn death threat. I saw a comment on a Reddit post that said something about Surya doing this to back Key into a corner so that he would have no choice but to go all out on a player and have an excuse to expel Key. And I kinda like this interpretation of this whole scene. And finally, someone that was very minor in the series is this girl called Skadai. She had moments in the show where a bit of focus was on her, like she helped out in defending Key in the trials and was the first one to dive headfirst into a raging fire when she heard that Key might be in there. Also, in the intro, unlike everyone else, she's far off in the background, the only one who isn't wearing a jacket representing her team, and is not looking at the camera. So I think it's safe to say she's going to be important in the second half of Season 1 or in Season 2. Whether it's her forming a bond with Key or her just straight up joining the Knights. Anyways, let's talk about the main thing that got me hooked into this series ever since the trailer. The animation. Holy shit, this is so good! And I hope that this series has good writing, cause animation like this deserves it. It definitely feels like Avatar with how anime-esque it looks, but also not really fully in that anime style. It also reminds me of Wakfu a little bit. Honestly, I truly wonder how many people watching this video even knows what Wakfu is. But there were a couple times where I caught a few animation errors here and there. This one here where the lip syncing is just off a little bit.
Win. Oh, how cute. You do know that's us, right? We'll see about that.
And this one that looks like Oddward just teleports.
Whatever. You check out the gym and I'll do my own thing.
They're nothing too major, it's just some funny errors that I noticed. And sometimes it feels like that they are just showing off and just give us eye candy. Like that did not need to happen with CL's fingers right there, but they did it anyway and I love it. And I swear, there are like 10 different shots that are prime material for a wallpaper on your phone or PC. I really like the scenery and aesthetic of this show, dude. It really just makes this whole world seem magical and mystical in some way. Anyways, yeah, I just had to get that animation glaze off my chest a little bit. But yeah, the animation is peak. We're 11 episodes in, and I like the story and ongoing mysteries of this show so far. What the Knights are, who stole Falco's Tama, and what the hell caused the incident way back then. And oh my god, how the hell is this guy not dead? He was literally engulfed in flames. Sequoia is keeping some very important information from Key about what happened on the day of the incident. She tells Key his mom was a hero who sacrificed herself, which right off the bat I did not believe, making her sus as hell. But in episode 11, Surya Sunspear says that she was the monster who caused that incident. And seeing how episode 1 started off, it seemed like she was taken and not really sacrificing herself. So yeah, Sequoia is sus as hell. Also, I want to mention some of the subtle foreshadowings of the show too, that some people didn't notice. There's a space for a fifth person at the Goyen table, and there is a large space between the 4 original banners that can fit a fifth one, both alluding something related to the Knights. And the amount of times the right side of Surya's face was being shown and pointed out alluded to something happening to him.
These earth-grabbing roses!
You talk about bringing shame to the family? Maybe you should look in the mirror, Uncle. Or would that be too painful?
Just thought these bits of foreshadowing were neat, but it does feel like the pacing of this show is going too fast for any world building to be done. Like, we don't get to see what the students do in this school besides play Goro-Tama. Are there people outside of Cal Astrorock that play Goro-Tama? Why is everyone taking this sport so damn seriously? Does Goro-Tama symbolize something more? And that rule where students can't use their Tama outside of the school? Can they use their magic to defend themselves? Like, what are the grounds for being allowed to use magic? Is being chased by a giant-ass fan grounds for being allowed to use it? I know that there are only a few episodes out right now, and most of the questions that I've asked can be so easily answered with, it's just the start of the series, or only 11 episodes are out. But it does still feel like we're moving too fast to really explore more of the world and build upon it. So with the confirmation of a season 2, I hope we go a bit slower with how fast things are going. Also, another thing I want to mention is how damn harsh the Goyans/coaches of each team are on the students. Skoy gets pissed at Ragnar after Falco was kicking his ass out there in the field, telling him to do better. The Shadows coach straight up kicks Brigina off the team after 1 L, and Surya tells the twins to straight up kill Key. I don't know for sure if that was what he meant by end him, but with the way Casper was talking to Key, it certainly sounded like he was talking about killing him, or at least fatally wounding him. And honestly, this explains why almost everyone who plays Goro Tama is such an ass. I can definitely see this series ending off with the mindset of, it's just a game, don't take it too seriously, or don't put your past grudges or burdens that you have on the newer generation. But either way, I can't wait to see more of this show and what it has to offer. Anyways, the verdict is, I really like this show. The characters are pretty good. Some could say that they are still underdeveloped, and I agree. They have a ways to go for me to really like them, but what we have now with just 11 episodes was enough for me to get attached to them in some way. Also, I do hope Skadai gets more screen time, because I really like her powers and the way she utilizes it, and she has a great design. The animation is obviously fire and hype and peak and sick as hell. The only major flaws I can name off the top of my head are the pacing, the complete 180 Key does from not caring about being like his mom to him then again wanting to be like his mom, and the lack of world building, but that could tie into the fast pacing criticism. Also, this is the first time I'm making a video that has some sort of deep thought and criticism of a show I watched, so I do apologize if I misinterpreted something or if my criticism wasn't deeply thought out enough. I hope future episodes of this show will be good and well written. Anyways, good night my ninjas and masters, and I'll see ya in the next one.